This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge sanctioned by the U.S. government. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity from the purge and shall not be harmed. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when the purge concludes. Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hive Mind Roundtable. I'm your host, Bill Thompson, prosecutor, criminology critic, and a part-time government hologram. You may know me from my greatest hits, We Cannot Put Him in the House, and then my follow-up single, He's Not Connected to the Victims, or reality for that matter. Now, before we start, let's address the evidence. I'm sorry, I meant to say the elephant. The elephant in the room, yes. We don't have any evidence. We don't have a murder weapon. We don't have all the DNA tested. We barely have a timeline. We just got vibes in a dream, baby. But that's America. We don't need proof. We have the mainstream media. You know, people keep saying, Bill, is this case a frame job? Absolutely not. This is pure American propaganda, everybody. A red, white, and blue collage of ring camera footage that's taken with a potato, FBI lies, and good old-fashioned media hysteria. This isn't law. This is performance art sponsored by Palantir and Othram. You know, let me tell you a quick story. I spent 3 months Googling, what do normal criminology students do? It turns out they study crime. It turns out they study serial killers. They don't necessarily commit it. Yet somehow, we have the second coming of the BTK who is able to work with DoorDash and teleport and, not know them in real life, yet leave no DNA behind and somehow be Jason Bourne. Yeah, it makes no sense, but that's okay. Like I said, we got the media. We got that good old-fashioned narrative. Thank you, America, for that. Now, as I said, yes, we cannot put him in the house. Not because of evidence, but actually, we can't even go back and retest it. We tore the house down. It's quite funny. Moscow PD, they keep deleting it off of Google Maps. We didn't even ask them to do that. I don't know why that shit's blurred out. So anyways, tonight on the Hive Mind Roundtable, we have LA Mike, we got Daddy Jones. We're going to be talking frame jobs, fake evidence, and how my courtroom speech somehow became the backbone of a death penalty case. If you have come for truth, you are in the wrong courtroom, because in Idaho, reasonable doubt is Latin for just trust me, bro. Welcome to the portal of hell. Let's begin, shall we? And this evening, Hive, if I were to keep this mask on all night, I would be sweating to the point where I'd probably pass out. So while, yes, I am B. Thompson, before I bring up these guests, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off this mask. And then we are going to dive into it. So give me 2 seconds. All right, what's going on, Hive? I hope everybody's ready for this. We got a good one lined up tonight. My face is probably beet red from that. I cannot believe how warm those masks are. So, anyways, we got a really exciting Hive Mind Roundtable planned for you all. We got some pretty good visuals. LA Mike and Daddy Jones, they tune in regularly, so they are up to speed, and I'm very excited about that. But nonetheless, I want to go ahead and say what's up to everybody tuning in. What's going on, Shoe Girl? Jody Designs, how are you doing? Carrie Robinson says that clowns creeper out. What's up, Molly Bledsoe? UFO Dog said, Bill looks so handsome. Alexis, how are you doing? AAA SMR 14, what up? Nurtured says, I knew you were going to do Thompson, but I had my hands full the other day. Monique. Robin, how are you doing, Scout? Your face finally matches the quality of your profession, Shoe Girl says. That's funny. Discord Dawn, I love you too. Yeah, good old sweat mouth. Just right here. Yep. What's up, Essie and Squirrel Nest? Chelsea says good satire, formerly known as Beck, says, trust me, bro. Oh, that's great. That is great. I guess I could take my name tag off too. But the girl from Texas, April, says, that's the best BT's ever looked. Birdie. They don't breathe at all. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm happy to be back. Yeah, I let Bill Thompson do the opening monologue, but I had to come back and take the roundtable back over. So, oh, that's funny. Where's everybody tuning in from this evening? What's up, Lisa? Lucas, Sleuther Dare. Texas is in the house. River Bear Teacup. Cat's Mojo. Phoenix says, hey, Birdie, thump some. Thump some. You got Kentucky and Seattle, the UK, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Scotland, Nova Scotia, UK, Rathdrum, Idaho, Louisiana, Michigan, Bonnie, Scotland, New York, United Kingdom, Down Under, Australia, Pennsylvania, Sweden, upstate New York, good old Vermont. It's freezing over there. Melbourne representing. Indiana, Texas is in the hive. Detective Mowry, you son of a bitch. He's hanging out in Birdie's mom's bedroom. Classic. Rocky Mountain Hive. Ohio's in the house. Virginia. Savannah. Syracuse. Oregon. Sicily. Tune in from Italy. Nice. New York City. Sunny California. Pennsylvania. Utah. Pennsylvania. Brooklyn. Walla Walla, Miami. My kid chin. It's dinner time. That's funny. Clowntown, Idaho. Fraud capital of the U.S. Minnesota, West Virginia. Aussie. Australia. Got so many Australia folks. I love it. San Fran. Portland. Missouri. Oh, my God. Detective Mowry. You are not having an affair on my mother, are you? Because the UFO dog says that they are actually, in fact, in your bed. So, boom. What a love triangle that would be, huh? I don't even want to think about that. I do not want to think about that. And before I go ahead and I bring up our guest for this evening, if you guys have not gone and hit that like button or press subscribe, please take, 5 seconds right now. Like this video, share it to your friends, especially any of your NPC fluoridated zombie friends. We do not offer any refunds on the red pills. However, it does help spread the word of the Hive. It allows people who are open-minded thinkers to come in and have a place where they're not going to be shadow banned or shamed or kicked out just because they think something that the mainstream media doesn't. So if this is your first time tuning into the Hive, I'm your host, Birdie. I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central. We do these roundtables the last Sunday of every month. And this is a contrarian thinking live stream. So if you're easily rattled or if you are offended on behalf of others, you're going to hate me. You're going to hate the stream. However, if you are the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist in your friend group, you have found your people, and we're happy to have you here. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up LA Mike and Daddy Jones. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
What's up?
What's up, Birdie?
I'm just going to make sure you guys are coming in loud and clear. Hive type of one, if they're coming in all right.
Do I sound super loud like DA does?
I don't think.
Yeah, check. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, you're a little loud. I'll edit it down.
Ooh, I'll just go like further away from the screen.
Okay.
Is that better?
Good. Yeah, that's fine. Everyone says one. You're good.
I get fired up and then I just like.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And well, real quick, guys, before I brought you up, I had forgot that I put this slide in here. I just need to make an announcement quick. And so we have the winners from our Discord contest for the best tinfoil hat, the best pumpkin carving, and then the best pet costume. Congratulations for the best tinfoil hat to Zen Jen 75452. For the best carved pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern, we have Philly Special, and Cat's Mojo with Cooper wins the best pet costume. So congratulations to you three. Please send me an email, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. I will be in contact with you as soon as I receive your email. You guys are going to get something sent to you for a prize, assuming that you guys claim them and you see this, but birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. Just type in Discord contest winner, something like that, just so I know. But congratulations to you three. Thank you to everybody that did participate. I don't know why it's so funny to see animals with tinfoil on their head, but it is pretty funny, and it's the fact that we vote on it, but it worked out all right. And congratulations, like I said, to Zen Jen, Philly Special, and Cat's Mojo. So, nonetheless, gentlemen, let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So we got LA Mike in the top right corner, and we got Daddy Jones down in the bottom left. Now, you guys have been tuning into the Hive for quite some time. I always like to ask people this question right out of the gates, just for an icebreaker. What was it about the Idaho 4 that made you think, yeah, this ain't it ain't what the news is saying? Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. So I always knew things were a little messed up with the government. Things weren't right. But I just didn't care. I was doing my own thing and started dating Ariana. It's been a couple years now. And she would always throw out crazy stuff like, Michael Jackson's still alive and stuff like just weird stuff. And I was like, all right, I liked her. So I would just placate her.
Smart man.
And then she was watching your show. She's like, I think you would like this guy. Feel like you guys would be friends. And so I checked it out. And the first show, a 2-year-old could, watch this and tell that something's not right. So
right.
I was intrigued and kept watching. And then now everyone, we want to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because of your show and your personality, and it just works. So
I love it.
It's been awesome, man.
Yeah, I remember when Ariana actually had said something. I think I was calling you out one time when she put a comment. She was like, my boyfriend needs to be red pilled or whatever, and I think I had said that, and then I saw your name start popping up, so that's awesome that it worked out. Thank you, Ariana, for bringing Mike into the hive.
Yep. Yep.
How
She's
about you,
taking
Daddy
about
Jones?
half of my
Yeah,
life.
so I've always consumed a lot of true crime content basically for years and years. I grew up on Forensic Files and Law and Order SVU and all that. But with this case specifically, like I always felt a weird connection to this case, both because the college fraternity and sorority aspect, which is something that was a huge part of my life at one point, and then also that Brian's like neurodivergent, ADHD, spectrum disorder stuff. Kind of like, I was like, this guy is the guy you think did it? Like, this guy is so weirdly relatable. And I'm like, that's like a conscience check. It's like, wow, like, why am I like identifying with a killer? But it's also like, or an alleged killer, but it's also like, I don't, it just seemed too simple right from the start where it's like, oh, there's this knife and it's completely clean, or the sheath is completely clean, but it has like one speck of DNA on it. And then like, I was just waiting for him to confess, and I was waiting for him to like say who was with him, or like, like plead out. And because the way that they portrayed it, it was like he's the type of person who's like narcissistic, sociopathic, would like really want the notoriety and like would really be inclined to kind of go ahead and say, oh, I thought I would get away with it. I'm so smart. I did A and B and C. I'm a criminology student. And he never said anything. And then and it just kept being like all of the information that they had was like what they were telling us was true. And then I found, so I watched a lot of mainstream content on it. And then I found one of your streams, and it was like the playback. And it was, it might have been, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was in like mid-May. And ever since then, I kind of locked into watching you and like being in the chat. And it was just like an awesome way to like kind of, because I would tell my girlfriend, I'd be like, this is crazy. Like, there's no way this guy did it. She's like, oh, you mean the guy who has all the evidence against him? And I'm like, well, there really isn't any evidence. And it's just like, and then it's just like, I found a community of people who were super like intelligent and thinking in a way where they're like questioning everything. And I've always kind of lived in a sphere where that is valuable to me, with like games and poker and all sorts of stuff where like you want to be analytical as much as possible. And this just kind of feeds me like in the best possible way in that regard. So yeah, sorry that was long, but that's why I'm obsessed with this case, and that's why I belong here, or what have you.
No, I appreciate that. And I think there's a lot of people too that realize at one point or another, right? Whether you're trying to get your significant other to watch not just this stream, just hear anybody out about anything, right? So like LA Mike, you were kind of on the opposite side of like Daddy Jones, where you're like, this clicks. LA Mike's going, Ariana's telling me Michael Jackson's alive. You know what I mean? Like, I get that because everybody's the same type of person. Like, or you're not the same type of person. But really, what it comes down to is like, can you take the time, the few minutes that it takes to listen to something and just judge it? Just actually hear it out without closing your mind off into this is already going to be whatever. Just hear it with open ears, let it flow in and out. What do you think about it? More times than not, it starts to make sense, especially in this case. So whatever you guys want to dive into first in regards to this case, I know Daddy Jones had sent over a couple of visuals. So if we want to dive into that first, and then LA Mike, obviously you and I both can just kind of comment on it, but Daddy Jones has this video.
Yes. So we can go into it. Obviously, I want a brief disclaimer that this is not going to concrete prove anything, but I'm going to explain a little bit why I thought this was super interesting, and then like a little bit about like why the shirt is important and all that stuff. But yeah, go ahead, pull it up.
Okay. All right. So this is the screenshot that Daddy Jones had sent me. There's a YouTube short that goes along with it. I have to keep it muted. It's actually from Euphoric, who I believe tunes into the Hive pretty regularly, and I have to mute that for the copyright. But here's the short. So let me make this full screen.
Yeah. So Gotta
They should be
go
able to,
another
they should hear you.
second. It should be. She's sitting at like a table. Oh no, it's gonna be like 35 seconds.
Yeah, I'm going to let it play just so people can see it.
All right, that works. Okay, so I'll start explaining it. When we get to the point where you pause it, that'll be whatever. But basically, there's this shirt she's wearing when we get to about 35 seconds, and the shirt she's wearing is a Phoenix Suns like NBA conference finals t-shirt, right? And Xana's father's there it is, right there. That's the shirt. That's the point. Yeah, so okay. So if you can see, like, it's covered up by the words, but it says Phoenix. And when I first saw this shirt, I thought it said Pi Beta Phi. So then when I saw Dylan wearing the same shirt in the Nunez body cam on the morning of 11/13 after the 911 call, I was like, well, that's not weird. They have a sorority shirt. It's the same shirt. But then I saw the shirt, like, closer up, and it says Phoenix. And Xana's from Arizona, or her family, Jeff is from Arizona, or lived there, whatever. But she has the connection to Arizona, so I thought it was a reasonable jump to assume that she was the owner of that shirt. The Phoenix shirt would be the person from Arizona and not DM. But yeah, so you can see it right here too. It's the same shirt. You can see that the shirt that DM is wearing is the same shirt that Xana was wearing, which doesn't really mean anything because roommates share shirts all the time. But then when you realize that she has a house full of clothes that she's not wearing and she's only wearing this shirt, and then you also realize that her clothes tested presumptive positive for blood, it gets a little weird. And it's like, why is that the shirt you're wearing of all the shirts? You haven't picked a shirt that belongs to your dead roommate? Like,
Why are you attacking me?
Wait, what does that say? Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
I just tell you what happened at 4 a.m.?
I can't do this anymore. All right.
But I mean, dude, you bring up a good point. So, like, LA Mike, what do you think about that? Why would that shirt that we see Xana wearing in these videos, again, be the shirt that's being worn the next day in general? And Taylor fought for withholding of evidence for, I believe, his blood on it was like a jacket, a shirt, or a blanket, right? Either way, it's a little bit weird, right? So for all we know, Xana could have been wearing Dylan's shirt. It's really not a big deal. It just gives a better understanding of the dynamic of the house is my take. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that there was a lot of friction in that house. You know, Dylan did it or whatever, but there was friction. And, you know, that whole 8 hours is just so, you know, so tough to get past. And, you know, wearing the shirt, you know. She dresses horribly, so I don't know. But
so I don't necessarily think that Dylan did it, quote unquote, or whatever. I more think that this is evidence that, or it's something that could support the idea that they were involved in some sort of cover, cleanup type thing where, like, oh, we have to call 911 now. Oh, wow, there's blood on this. I can't wear this. Let me grab the first thing I see, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's like, you're not going to go into, like, she didn't go into Xana's room and get that shirt to, like, go to sleep at night. Like, that makes no sense. She said she didn't even see them. Like, she didn't even know if they were home at one point. So it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. And I thought it was weird enough to bring up. And then I kind of, like, did all the process of, like, finding the timestamp and then, like, finding, and if it was just like a generic shirt, it's like they could both own it or whatever. But because it was a Phoenix shirt, I thought it was reasonable enough to assume that it belonged to Xana. And that was basically where we went with that. So I just thought that was kind of weird. And yeah.
It is weird. But then I just saw a couple chats from, like, females in the Hive. They're like, no, girls do that. And that also could be an aspect. Like, I've never lived with, you know, anybody outside of, like, my wife. You know what I mean? Like, when I lived with a bunch of dudes, if I went into your room, LA Mike, and I took your shirt and I'm sitting on the couch with it, you'd probably be like, why are you wearing my shirt, bro? Not
I put a lock on my door.
Yeah. You put a lock on your door. That's right. Right? It wouldn't be suspicious, would it? Because Birdie's stealing your clothes. But anyways, I wanted to ask you guys in general, this 8 hour delay, all this stuff, we discuss it all the time. one thing that I've started to think about is this. Why would the state of Idaho, who has the death penalty, that has this high profile of a case, there's a quadruple murder that's the most rock solid narrative of all time, why would they ever let this dude take a plea to get the death penalty off the table? Why would that even be a thing?
Well,
you know
here's a better question. Washington doesn't have a death penalty, so why would he drive to Idaho, where there is the death penalty, and commit, just for fun?
Yeah.
Commit. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's another thing that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I don't know why he's going to cross state lines, because crossing state lines does two things. First, it makes it federal, and second, it also puts him in a death penalty state. So it like makes the opposite of sense. And also, maybe he's thinking, oh, I'm going to go like I know Israel Keys used to like abduct somebody like 20 miles from the state border and then like drive to the other state like a half an hour back and dump the body, or like he would do like tri-state areas where there's like 3 states and then like take somebody, dump like the weapon in like 3 different states and like spread it all out, just because like if somebody finds something, then there's like all these jurisdictions that have to be crossed and stuff. So I thought maybe he was thinking about doing that, which would make sense from a criminology perspective. But also, it just makes no sense because like the victimology is such that you're going to find people like that. Sorority girls are going to be at WSU in droves. Like there's no real reason to go to a death penalty state that's also like kind of like a cowboy state where everybody has guns and everything else too. It's just like weird. It's like, what if you go in that house and someone's awake and you get shot? Like, it's just, for someone who's a criminal justice major, it was like really the dumbest crime you could possibly commit if you follow like Bill Thompson saying, oh, you might not have chosen that house until the day or the night of. It's like, okay, so what if you walk in and there's like a dude awake with a loaded gun? Like, that doesn't make any sense, He
said for convenience, possibly. It's like, that's the least convenient house to like ever,
Yeah.
And it was so convenient he couldn't even park. Sorry. But it was so convenient he had to do like 3 K-turns to park, right?
K-turns. I've never heard of a K-turn. I've said that before. I'm like, I've never heard of a K-turn in my life. I've heard of a Y-turn. I've heard of parallel parking. But a K-turn is a little bit weird. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it because we talk about the house, right? We talk about the house a lot where it's like, why would he choose it if this is an opportunistic crime, yet he's never been in there. They can't put him in there. He doesn't know the layout. I think a lot of times, even in my own head, there's this bias of like, we still are like, well, he studied criminology. So whether or not that was the quote reason why he did it, or the reason for the narrative that they're at least saying he did it. What if we just looked at it through the lens of like, we didn't know that he was a criminology student? Is there any other justification for it? That's such a weak, low IQ, simple, like talking point. Oh, because he studied it. So that means that he can remote view the interior of somebody's house before he goes and does this and know who's upstairs, where they are, how he's going to get out, how he's not going to leave any blood, right? My point is, take that criminology aspect out of it. What do people say about the timeline and everything else?
Well, I think that's the only reason he was framed. It's because they had that on him, that he's, some weirdo, kind of, introverted kid, weird, awkward, loves criminology. And that's all they have on him. I mean, other than that, they literally have to follow him to Pennsylvania to get his, family's DNA so that they can somehow tie that back to him and then go to Othram. And I truly believe junk science. I mean, I think it's junk science. And that's what they had on him. They had the car as well, right? And now that's gone. So that's been proven that it wasn't his. So they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing now.
Yeah. I think that the IgG being used, like, people don't understand how cooked we are if they want to cook you. Now that this case has solidified for an active case, right? Like a cold case is something completely different than what we're talking about right now. And then to not have to share how you got that, to say that it was going to be treated as a tip, you know, that's my motivation for continuing to talk about this case is things like that. I've said that many times on stream. But when you guys, you know, think about Brian Koberger and being connected to the crime, I know, Daddy Jones, you were telling the story about kind of like your shirt and your story, and not that you're, you know, a suspect for murder, but you were just saying this entire thing just seems like he's a very relatable dude, right? He's a relatable guy. It sounds weird to say you could relate to him, but it's kind of true. No, you're good. You're good. But it's kind of true.
No, like I've done the like over explain myself when I'm pulled over for a traffic infraction thing. There's like the video of like the female cop pulls him over. He's like too far out in the intersection when he goes through the red light. And like just this afternoon, I was like going with my girlfriend to like a little fall like orchard apple picking, pumpkin picking thing. And I like went through a yellow light and she was like, "Oh, you're not watching the road, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, I think it was safer to go. I would have stopped in the middle of the intersection. And this is like what he says is like, so what am I supposed to do if I end up in the middle of the intersection? And you can tell that his brain is like firing a mile a minute. And he also has like this sense of like justice and morality. It's weird to say that about someone who's accused of killing 4 people. But what I mean is like, he has like the way that neurodivergent people have this sense of like a moral code where it's like, I don't want to be perceived as having done something wrong, you know? So he's like, well, what was I supposed to do? Like he wants her to agree with him in that interaction. You know what I mean? So it's like really interesting because I can kind of relate to how he's like, instead of being like mad that she's like writing him a ticket, he's like trying to explain his thought process. And I was like always like in spots where like a lot of like decisions are involved, I was always super like focused on having it be imperative that like my thought process was understood, like my reasoning behind making certain decisions. And it's like, you don't have to agree with me, but I want it to be sound insofar as you can understand why I did something, like relationships and like sports, whatever. But yeah, so I just always related to him a ton, and that's a good example. But I've done the nighttime, like I'm restless and like depressed or whatever.
Uh-oh. Did his mic go out?
We lost you, Daddy.
I think his AirPods died. His AirPods died.
Yep.
No worries. Still can't hear you, homie.
No.
Nope. You can bounce out and pop in if you want. Well, okay.
All right.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, dude. Going off that,
we dropped that dead weight, huh?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just joking. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
He'll be all right.
Kidding.
He'll be all right. Are you there? No, I think you're gonna have to leave the link completely. Come back. No worries, dude. Don't worry about it. All right. So, Mike, in the light of being, you know, more of a tinfoil hat type stream, what is it that you think, bottom line, is they are lying about? Are they lying about the fact this could have been a drug hit? Are they lying about the fact this could have been WITSEC? Was this a ritual? Like, what do you think this was?
Well, I mean, I've gone through the docs. It's like they, you know, anything of value that to us as, you know, citizens in our First Amendment rights to know what's going on in the courts, it's all redacted. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, who knows what they're lying about? I know that Ann Taylor put in a request to see if, you know, the girls or Ethan, they were informants. That, you know, was obviously denied. I mean, everything's denied. Hippler's just, he's just played gatekeeper on everything. So, you know, I know there's stuff being released slowly, but I mean, even then, you know, like, do you really think that they're going to release everything to the point where we can walk it down to their office and be like, you guys are guilty?
No,
he's going to do everything he can to just, so.
What do you think will be the thing, if there is a thing, that will change the public's perception? Because I've not given up hope that these NPC, the bots, the people that are, I call them bots. I know that they're probably a majority of them are not real people, but for the ones that are, the people that don't want to hear you out. I mean, I see people who their comments on the videos that I post, they're like, I can't even talk to my mom about this case because it ends in a fight. And I'm like,
Right.
I feel terrible about that because there's so many issues in this world where it's like, you can't talk to your mom about it because it's going to end up in a fight because what? Is it because they won't listen to you? You won't listen to them, whatever it may be. But no, really, it's that's what they're doing. They're making people choose a side. And if you choose this side, you can't think anything else is true about the other side. And that with this case is very, very telling. And he has to be completely guilty or completely innocent. And it's wild. Nobody else can be involved,
Yeah, and I think the media, right. I think the mainstream media has such a strong hold on everyone. The first thing you hear, which is going to be from mainstream, it's once you hear that, it's hard to, you plant that in your head, and then some guy like me comes over and says, he didn't do it, right? They're just like my friends. I'll just say, Koberger didn't do it, right? They're like, what? Like, I watched the thing and he pleaded guilty. Like, what are you talking about? And that's why I put this document together that I had for you. And then I went to change one thing, and I spent like 30 hours on it. Went to change one thing, and now it's in a million pieces. And that's my ADD. So I'll get it back together. But it's just it's insane. If you really look at it chronologically, timeline, Hitler's I think Hitler is, kind of like the quarterback of the case. He's been able to control everything just by, not allowing things in for the defense, and obviously pro prosecution, and it's just been as I've read through it, I'm just like, they had no chance. I mean, of course he had to plead guilty. Once the IGG was accepted, it looked bad for him.
Right.
I mean, he didn't really have any options. And none of the sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, what would you have done? Like, without playing Monday morning quarterback, without trying to be, as like DA would say, like, without having this, bunch of cockswagger, like, I'm going to do it, I don't care, I'm never going to plead. Like, what would you have done in Brian's position, given the media, given the evidence, given this railroading from, Ann Taylor's trying to do this and everything's sealed, redacted? Would there even be a point to try to get the public's help? I mean, so is silence actually, it's confusing to us, but is it strategic?
Yeah, right. I used to always say it already. I'm like, dude, I don't care. I would never plead guilty, especially because, I mean, there's not much of a difference between life and jail. And, I'd almost rather you shoot me to death. I mean, if you have to spend minutes, I mean, and as you read through the case, it's like, once Hitler, denied so many things from the defense and then let the IGG evidence in, there weren't a lot of options. I mean, he hadn't released any of the stuff from BK, like, his car wasn't at the marijuana shop or whatever, all that stuff that they said where, it's going to go towards the kid's house. We didn't know any of that. He didn't know any of that, so his decision was made on strictly, these are my options right now before trial.
Yeah.
And he took it. I'm still not convinced that he might not be an informant,
I'm back. Hey, can you hear me?
Hey.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good, brother.
Welcome back, man.
Awesome. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, we were just saying.
I was done.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
Okay. How about this, Danny Jones? So LA Mike kind of finished with a little bit saying, he's like, I'm still not convinced that he might not be an informant. Okay. I would be so shocked if there's a reason for this crazy narrative that is something different than that. You know what I mean? So given the lack of evidence, given this timeline, given how that there is, quote, like some truth, like, is he in the area? Does his phone connect 23 times during those hours, right? Was it off? Was it this? Was it that? But yet there's no connection, all those stuff. I'm like, that to me, it just sounds like a cover story. It sounds like a cover story, like a shell where it's like, if you don't dig into this, you're never going to find out the truth. That's what you do for informants. If you just take me at face value, and if I'm convincing enough, and don't look into me, it's going to work. That's what this story feels like to me.
I think he could be an informant in the sense that he was like a low-level user or what have you, and basically they flipped it like they said they do. They called it what did they call it? A quick 50 or something? You talked about this a few streams ago.
Yeah,
so
that's what it was.
Something like that but I mean, I don't think that he was like undercover. I think that it's possible. But like then there was all that weird thing with like the where the police chief was interviewed and he was like, did Brian Kober ever work for the university? And he's like, I have to ask my lawyer before I can answer that. Like, that was bizarre. So I guess it's because he applied but was never hired. So the answer would be no, but technically, or the university police or whatever it is, but technically it was like, I don't know. I think if you do the informant angle, I think I actually lean more towards him being like the driver of the getaway of like the car, but maybe not knowing what was going on. Because like there's a reason why he didn't just like be like, I wasn't here and I can prove it. Because like he did shut his phone off like an hour X before, or it dropped from the network, so I guess it technically could have gone out of service. But it's like something was going on. And if he was legitimately innocent, like, you know, none of us were there. Like, we can all prove that we weren't there. He, for some reason, can't prove that he wasn't there. But I don't think he killed anybody. But I have no idea what he did. And I think that there's a chance that the person that Dylan saw at 4 a.m. was actually him, and he still didn't kill anybody. And I can't really figure out exactly how that happens. He's a driver. He's a cleaner. They were like, you can buy XYZ from me if you show up here. And it's like, what the hell did I get into or whatever, you know? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. And I think that there's a chance that we don't ever know. And I think that's the worst part about this case and why it drives me nuts.
Yeah. You know, I got to say, and you know what? There's a lot of people that have said that maybe he's the getaway driver. I will say this from people not being able to wrap their head around maybe Brian Kober is an informant, and I'm not here necessarily trying to convince you for the sake of this conversation or anybody for that matter. But what I'm saying is this: the news was able to take criminology and turn that into serial killer. Why can't we wrap our head around criminology undercover asset? Which is what you're going to school to study the system. He's going down this path. He's very good at what he does. Why can't we get to there mentally? Like, oh, he's now going for a PhD in this. Is he good enough? Is he going to try to do it? How does that guy not get a Pullman PD internship? I guarantee they got interns that aren't PhDs working for him. Right? It just seems like
weird.
Not that big of a stretch to say, well, it's just as likely that he would be an informant as it would that he would be a serial killer because of criminology. No, that to me is an illogical thought process. Right. I think it's way more likely he would do something with them.
It's not a 50-50. It's a 90-10 the other way, I think.
I think so, too. But it doesn't mean that he was undercover. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from the narrative standpoint, people are like, yeah, criminology. He studied it. That's why he's doing the serial killer stuff. And it's like, well, hang on. What else is going on out there? That's, you guys know my position. But that's why I want to do these roundtables so I can hear your guys'. And
so I guess my question to kind of rebut that and kind of be a devil's advocate, he's awesome, by the way, is I would say why they didn't release Molly until people poked and prodded, and then she went and got arrested and like blew everything up on the body cam or whatever. So like, why convict him at all? There's two people who died within a month of the crime who looked really good for it, right? With the Pavarotti, when Pav went into Mowich and then there's like all the Kopaka stuff that people kind of tried to exhaust every angle with that. But it's like, if you just want to frame somebody, the guy whose phone was factory reset and apartment was gutted and like no one can really stop you from framing that person. If you frame a dead guy or even pin it on a dead guy, not knowing who did it, like, why did you put a living person in prison when he was like working for you? It doesn't make any sense unless he's not really in prison and we're all just pretending that like everyone's just pretending that he's in prison and he's in like protective custody or whatever. Then it's like a whole nother layer to it. But it's like, if he was an informant, why not arrest him at all? Like, don't arrest him at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to answer that, Mike? Your opinion?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, you know, so I was looking at the first press releases from the case, and they had nothing. They were literally, it said like, if you have any information, and that was from, you know, a couple weeks.
Yep.
There was a lot of pressure from that university, you know, from students coming in the next year. I mean, that's the entire town, right? And you're not going to send your kid to that university if they don't solve that case. So I think if they have this guy, they know this, you know, working for him, and he kind of fits the narrative. Why not say, hey, we're gonna arrest you. We're gonna drive to your parents' house. We're gonna do all this stuff. We're gonna cut you a deal, but we have to get this cleaned up because, you know, it's just we're gonna lose everything. You know, the town's gonna go bankrupt. And I think that's kind of where my head is after reading everything.
Yeah.
They had to find someone, and they can't just arrest, you know, Joe Schmo. So.
Right. And I get that. I get that he's what they remember when the first documentary, I think it was the first documentary that came out, where that woman, and Birdie, I know you mentioned this on a show a couple months ago. She's like, he was an outsider. Remember that?
Oh, Idaho.
So like,
Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, it was not an Idaho person. So like in that regard, like an outsider came there, did something abhorrent, and then they go away. They go to prison forever, no way to get out, et cetera, et cetera. It kind of wraps it up. And if they did say that the person that did it was already deceased or what have you, with the other angles that we've been looking at, then those people, then it kind of looks like they're doing exactly what they're doing, right? It kind of looks like they don't know what they're doing. They're like, oh, dead men tell no tales, so this person did it, boom, open and shut. It looks like they're like throwing it away. When you put a live person there, it looks like you're trying a lot harder to like actually solve it. So I guess in that regard, it makes a lot more sense that you would use him as the person to pin it on.
Yeah, so to sum it up, like a public facing conviction, right? You got the monster off the street. Now, I always think about this bigger picture going along with kind of what you're saying. And what that is like, you never let a crisis go to waste. Okay, don't get mad at me for saying that. I'm just describing it, everybody. I'm just describing it. I understand these are people's lives, and you shouldn't do that. Our government and the powers that be, they're experts in doing this. They are experts in exploiting a crisis and making it last as long as they can and getting every last ounce squeezed out of benefit of that squeezed out of it. For example, let's say hypothetically the killers are dead. There's no public facing conviction. Now they have to tell the entire truth. They put somebody who's alive that maybe was involved with it. So there's, again, this plausible deniability aspect of it. And then what do they get from the benefit of not letting this, crisis go to waste? Well, they've been lobbying money, lots of money, for IGG being admissible in court. And then now you look at, and I've said this, it has nothing to do with Mrs. Chapin. It could be any case. Othram then goes and makes her the spokesperson at CrimeCon. You now question Othram.
Yeah,
you're questioning grief. You're victim shaming. It's really they're insulating themselves for IGG at the end of the day. Do you think that takes a rocket scientist to do if you're in that line of work and in that position, and you know that Othram and the FBI have been trying to get people that want this? I don't know.
So I think Stacey Chapin going from writing a children's book, which is like a very unique, very personal, and very like relatable way to process your grief, to being the spokesperson for a corporation is completely ridiculous and insane. So I was very pro Stacey Chapin in the beginning. And it's kind of hard to not be. Like, she was a sympathetic character. She was like very open about it, but she was also very like mature. And she'd be like, "Oh, we're moving on. We have 2 other children." Like, she said things that showed like a level of emotional maturity with regards to how she was processing the grief, and she wasn't like completely insane. And that was kind of like, it kind of made me like her or what have you. But then she started like to do this with the Oppenheimer. I think it's just awful. Like, I just don't know that I really believe her anymore, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, I've watched videos of her, and at first I understood, like, look, you don't want to go to the trial. I get that. But then I started watching more videos of her, and, her husband's next to her. He's not saying a word. She's very, she's the type A, kind of the dominant in the relationship, and the things she's saying just without emotion, it just rubbed me the wrong way. Just didn't get a good feeling about it. And Master Nature had a video of her on yesterday, and don't get me started on him. He's out of his mind. I like him though.
He's wild. He's wild.
Yeah, he's out of control. I love him though. But yeah, she just so detached, and talking about the interview was, the interviewer was asking her about making money on these certain things, and she was saying, well, she's putting it towards scholarships, and the first one went to her child, which is fine, but it's just it was just the whole thing, from top to bottom. This case has just driven me insane.
Man, you know what? I've never said this on stream before, ever. It's just, this is the most tinfoil hat conspiracy that I could get right now. Okay, yeah, you're like, bring it on. Okay,
Yeah.
so you know how we've talked about how Steve G says, is that your tinfoil hat guy right there?
You got to believe, man. You got to believe.
Oh yeah, I love that. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to say it. So Steve G, I've thought this for a while, that I just saw Amanda B's comment. Okay. So Steve G said what? We said he doesn't have to go upstairs. Someone step up, someone be alpha. What have we talked about, more than a handful of times in this, which is, he's talking through the screen to somebody. It seems like even with like Olivia or any of the G family, it seems like, are they trying to say something without saying it? Does that make sense what I mean right there? I think most people,
no doubt.
even if you don't,
no doubt.
Okay. Why are we to think that that's the only family doing that? Okay. So now I hear this, the boy who wore blue. It's not like, at least from when I look up any pictures of Ethan, I know she says, oh, Ethan always wore blue, always whatever. 2 a.m.'s a dark hour though. I'm starting to think like, damn, did the person who did this, did they know were they in blue at 2 a.m. committing these? I know that's effed up. That's the biggest conspiracy of all time. But I start thinking, I'm like, it'd be different if it's like the boy that wore blue and it's like that last picture of them all, hanging out, whatever. If there's like one picture that goes really viral of them where he's in like a blue shirt, or if it was younger, or if there's a baby picture that they share, you don't really see that. It's just kind of, she says that, and then she says, oh, 2 a.m.'s a dark hour.
Yeah.
It's like Steve G. He doesn't have to go upstairs. Someone step up, someone be alpha, and I'm like, it's all kind of cryptic, maybe? I don't know. Thoughts on that, anybody? Is that crazy? It's probably crazy, but I thought
they have his brother's truck pulling up, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't know what
that's
exactly
wild.
So that was crazy. Like, obviously, somebody from the house called him, and we don't know.
Right.
So I'm fairly certain I have at least a believable reason why she says boy who wear blue. So I don't know if anybody knows about like her explaining it, but she says that like because they're triplets, like they each wore a color so that they could tell them apart when they were kids. Sense. And Ethan wore blue. I want to say Hunter wore green, and then I want to say Maisie wore pink, but or yellow, but I'm not 100% sure which one Maisie was. But regardless, they were 3 different colors so that they could tell them all apart, and Ethan wore blue. And that's where that comes from, if you're to believe her line of talking about it or whatever. But I do think it's really cool the way you framed it, as it being like a call out that only like the person who's like complicit or culpable like knows that it's a call out, which is kind of meta and like really, really awesome if that was what's actually happening. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never read the book either. I'd be curious. I just saw like somebody, I think Germelia, somebody says that they got the book. You know, I'd be curious. Maybe we should buy it and read it and just see, like, is there, again, that's such a stretch. I know that that's not
subliminal messages.
I know that that's not normal to do, everybody. Okay. Today, Junior. That's what I just felt like. Right there. But
well, to me, the interviewer was asking her about the kids going back to school right away. And she was just so calm. And it's like,
yeah,
I want them to, they want to get back on their journey. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, if that were my kids, like, they're not going back there for so many different reasons. They're not going back there. And she was just completely nonchalant about it. And then they go back to the sorority and fraternity and they get these awards and everyone's laughing and happy. Like, what? I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't add up.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to use this example. Here's a disclaimer. I don't like to talk about the victim's family that much. If you guys have tuned in, I really shy away from that outside of like the interviews where they're on the world news. Okay, so don't get mad at me for asking questions to hundreds when they're going out there saying it to millions. All right, let's just address that. Here's the thing, though. This talking point of everybody grieves differently. Okay, let me work through this here because I want to make sure that this is addressed. Everybody does grieve differently. Now, there is a difference when it comes to how do you describe what type of grief? Okay, because I've gone through grief. I'm sure both of you two have. There's probably people in here that are currently going through that. They're not the only people to go through it. They won't be the last people to go through it. That's the sad reality of this world. Okay, so I mean this from like genuinely a place of respect and just trying to say this with the utmost clarity. My opinion is this. There is a difference of grieving. For example, my father, he was sick with cancer for 6 years. We knew that was going to be the end one day or another. Not to get all depressing. We knew it was happening. I still grieved. Okay. My best friend that I lived with in college, crazy story. His father, literally my best friend, his father died that same day from a random heart attack, unexpectedly. Okay, so wild shit. Like I just lost my dad and then I lost my best friend's dad within 12 hours. Wild. So and it was a really reflective and a deep moment for me of like, holy shit, both of our dads are gone now. Is it easier to know that it's coming? Or would you rather have this Band-Aid ripped off? Ultimately, grieving is the same because you lost your father. But the situation is so much more different. I've known this was coming. He did not know this was coming. Right? So it's going to look different. Of course. The dramaticness or the drama of the situation also is not the same. And people forget that about these situations. We are not talking about older people or people that have a known health condition where they know they're about to die. People get to say their final goodbyes. They're surrounded and by their family and their friends and their loved ones. And they're prayed over and they go into this afterlife peacefully. It is so much different when you are having somebody sneak into your house. You are brutally stabbed. You are attacked at 4 a.m. and you have no idea who the person is, what their motive is. It's a serial killer. It's a drug hit. It's this. Okay. Same thing too with like, Charlie Kirk. It's like there's grieving and then it's like, no, well, that guy he's 31 with a young family at home and his neck just got blown up on the internet, viewed millions of times. Is that really, can you say that's the same thing to quote grieve about? So while it's different, we need to understand also the situation and normal behavior. Grief can look that way, but there's also a reaction. There's a reaction period that you need to understand. Like, because what we're saying with these victims' families, they're all different from a grief years later, but initially There was no binding together. They seem to be indifferent through the plea deal.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think sorted out sleuthing might have just summed it up, but it's like maybe the families do know the truth. That could be it.
Well, it's the
I
same
just
as
wanted to make
Eric,
sure I
right?
address that. Yeah.
It's like the show must go on right away. I mean, I know that's not a form of grief, and like acting completely normal and I mean, there's different stages of grief, but those aren't, that's not one of them. Like, I'm completely comfortable. The show must go on. And from an intuition standpoint, we're sitting here going, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, and no one wants to hate on, for God's sakes, like nobody wants to hate on them, but it's like, it goes into this 40,000 foot view of this entire thing just being weird, even if you take their reactions out of it. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, the reactions are a part of it because in the public eye, we all see that. Again, don't get mad at us for asking questions of hundreds. The news is broadcasting this out to millions. So if you don't want people to talk about it, you could say no to an interview, right?
Absolutely.
They can say no.
Yep. And they could have been transparent in the courts and not redacted everything, and we wouldn't have all these questions. And
Right.
they didn't. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think grief can be super complicated, and I'm going to kind of springboard off of what Birdie talked about because I got a little bit of a similar story. So when I was 18, my father had like a routine operation. It's supposed to be like day in, day out. Like you're there, it's like an outpatient surgery essentially. And he had it. He came home, and then like it kind of, instead of healing, like he healed for a week or two, and then it started to like get worse and worse. And it turned out that there was like an infection that was complicated from this operation, and he ended up passing away like a month after the operation. And I was 18 and my brother was 16. So like, and we were pretty similar the way we were brought up. We had a lot of the same friends and stuff. We were pretty close in age. And I like was like crying in the hospital and like tried to hug him, was like hugging my mom. My brother like pushed me away and like punched a hole in the wall in the hospital. And like, it was just 100% different, right? So two kids, similar ages, same upbringing, but like the way that traumatic event hit you was like totally different. And then I noticed how utterly quickly I wanted to be normal, right? So like we're right in between. Like you said, your friend's father passed like with zero warning whatsoever, right? And your father passed after prolonged illness. So we were like, oh, he's not doing great. But then like it went from, like it being not a great situation to it being like dire in like the frame of 12 hours or whatever. So it's like kind of mixed where there was like built up of tension and concern, but also it's still like the thing that we wanted to do was like be normal teenagers again. So in a way, like Hunter and Maisie going back to school is something that I kind of understood, but also like losing a family member who, the way the timeline works is different, right? So like our parents, we are supposed to like guide our parents to the next life, right? Like we're supposed to bury our parents. Our parents are never supposed to bury us. So the idea that parents are like burying their children is like a reversal of the natural thing. And then like having a triplet where like you end up attending like the memorial service for like your triplet who's the same age as you is like very unnatural. And I feel like I understand even less how they would deal with that, I guess. But I do understand them going back to school as far as that not being weird. In my opinion, I don't think that's weird, actually. I think it's what I would have done. But that's just me,
Yeah, and given like again, it's if it's really just Brian, right? That makes sense. In a weird way too, that does help their narrative of it's Brian. They got the lone wolf. They got the lone killer. There's nobody else involved. Everyone's safe. I want to ask you guys this, and Daddy Jones, I'm sorry for your loss, and thank you
I
for
appreciate it.
both of you again, just being willing to come up here and talk openly and candidly. So, I wanted to ask you guys this though: what are the odds that a stranger does this? Especially given the serial killer thing, they seem to be very specific, and they seem to also want to tell people what it was. We don't hear anything. I mean, I personally feel like multi-victim homicides, when you look at the statistics, random ones, they're so low that this just given everything else, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have friends in law enforcement and have asked them, it just doesn't add up. Most of the people that are unalived are, that's done by people that are close to them or that know them. And so that's why I'm thinking more of like the Dylan aspect, something went wrong. And I think Ariana said, like, over what, like a T-shirt? And I said, we don't know if it was a drug stash house. We don't know the situation there, right? But yeah, Mrs. Chapin, I just thought it was very interesting though when the interviewer asked her about them going back to school. She's like, well, it's just we know it's just one crazy man, and so it's no, I feel good about that. And I'm just watching them. It just seemed rehearsed. I mean, it just seemed rehearsed. That's the narrative that they planted. I think. I'm not sure if they all were told or all in on it. Because when you listen to Steve G and his family, it seems like they still have questions. But I'm starting to think they all have a script that they're following. I don't know.
Let's look through this lens of. Do you guys think you guys could both just humor me here for 5-10 minutes on this next question?
Oh yeah.
Which is this? Let's just say this. If this was to protect people in the house, I'm saying, if this was, did you lose your audio? Oh, here comes the echo. I'm going to mute you. Okay. All right. So, if this was to protect people in the house, Mike, and let's say that this ended up saving their lives, this narrative. If this is witness protection, they use the greater good doctrine, and they did extract them, and this is a cover story for something that's going on in the shadows. You have a cutout defendant being Brian Koberger, criminology student, PhD. Give that dog the top dog. Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? That's funny. But if, let's just say that did end up saving lives. At what point, and I think a lot of the confusion on my end comes from this, is what justifies being able to hijack a narrative, right?
Yeah.
Do we need to start calling out this greater good doctrine? Is it really for the greater good? Or because now when that occurs, as I said, they never let a crisis go to waste. They always use that crisis to overstep some sort of right. They'll codify it. They'll make it law after the fact, Patriot Act, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
I don't know. How do we even put boundaries on that? Because it's like the greater good. I'd like to save somebody's life if we have the resources in our law enforcement to do so and pull off an operation to take down bad guys. I'm not saying we need to know about it, but
Right.
At what point is it too far? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's caused a lot of pain out, just outside of, the unalivings and the families and all that stuff. I mean, I know I've spent how many hours on this case, and it's kept me up at night. I'm not saying that's that important, but there's a lot of, just spreading fear. And now they're, it's IGG. So now they're, they have precedent that this case is going to go through. And so it'll allow them to further their, we don't need to have, we don't really need to check our work in math, so to speak, and put this through. And then why pick Idaho? It's like every state is sovereign. And so they report to themselves. Yeah. And Idaho is one of the, after looking into it, like they're self-policing, and there's not really a whole lot of policing going on, basically.
Yeah. And if Brian's so smart, why does he transfer across the country? I don't know. I just saw that I cut out there too. If Brian's so smart, why does he transfer across the country? I mean, he's looking up serial killers. He's looking up all this other stuff. He knows the system, right? Or he knows how people think. I just, and why I was kind of asking you guys to humor me for that is, if you've been tuning in, I've been saying, rather than poking holes in this narrative, let's start asking, why did they say that? Why did they set Brian up as a serial killer obsessed, which we know it's just going to be criminology? Why did they mention the Reddit surveys? Why is there no digital footprint of him being born in 94? No MySpace, no Facebook, no youth sports pictures, nothing. There's just weird selfies, which then you ask, why are they showing pictures of the thumb up? More than one. How do you say that's a trophy picture? That, yeah. You know, like, like, hang on, wait, all three of us.
So creepy.
Yeah, do it, boys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna screenshot that. That might be the thumbnail. But no, I mean, why do they say the things they do instead? I mean, is there an aspect of that you guys have looked into for this case outside of poking holes in it, rather?
Yeah, I've looked into it, and actually, they say if you're a PhD, criminology student, most of them actually scrub their backgrounds in case they want to go into,
really,
the FBI. Yeah. Like, they tell them to do that right away to, just kind of lose their identity in case they want to go in the FBI or whatever. So that part,
I didn't even think of that.
So that part I get. I guess I get it now. I didn't get it before, but I get it now. But then, the pictures that they keep showing, the only thing we see of him, I mean, and I was going through all these pictures, man. You are right. Like, some pictures, he's got a skinny face. Others, he looks like the starting quarterback for the Rams. It's just like different body. It's weird. It's weird.
It's so weird. I mean, dude, like, look at this. I see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So I see at least 4 different looking dudes.
Right. One for every occasion. Yeah. I
mean, there's some that look close, but then also guys, let's keep in mind, Brian Koberger has an iPhone, right? Right?
Yeah.
When have you ever seen an iPhone photo go that blurry? I could see it like if somebody sent you a message from an Android or vice versa. Like, that happens with videos. I don't know if you guys have ever had that. I've had that where people send me videos from an Android. I very rarely get that on an iPhone. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. Yeah. So, like, guys, it's just so blurry.
Yeah.
It's happened. I've had it where, like, I try to take a picture of something and it, like, sometimes the iPhone will, like, leave the shutter open for, like, it'll say like 3, 2, 1, and if you move while it's, like, doing that, it leaves, like, how, like, with a camera they do, like, open exposure and it just looks like lights running or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like that. It's like that where you, like, keep the shutter open for multiple seconds and it'll do that where it goes blurry. I've had it happen before. I mean, you can definitely see in this graphic you have up that it's like that a lot of these are the same person, but you can also see, like, a lot of them where it doesn't look like the same person at all.
I mean, look at,
and you just included this bottom middle one is crazy. The bottom middle one is crazy.
And I always look for the nose. Like, he's got that bent nose, right? And that's kind of his ID. But yeah, I mean, these are clearly different people. And as I was scrolling through, I'm going, these aren't the same guy. There's no way. I mean, they're not.
It's like, it's also odd because what does this do? Again, I'm thinking on a standpoint now of, if we're all being studied, predictive criminal behavior in a non-clinical setting with emerging adults is what they were funding at WSU. Go look up WSU and where it ranks for criminology schools. It's way up there. It is way up there. Okay.
Top 10.
Brian Koberger. Yeah. And Koberger's on a fast track to get out there. Okay. His schooling is quick. There's, as you said, Mike, I didn't know that, but it makes complete sense. They might scrub his background if he's going to be getting into that type of, if you know and you study how criminals think, you're a huge asset for the feds. You're a huge asset for the marshals. You're a huge asset if you know the psychology behind these people. Right. The photos, when I see this, it actually really kind of reminds me too of, they released like this 7th or 8th grade version of Ethan as well. Have you noticed that?
Wow.
I think it's,
I don't know why.
I think it's weird that Ethan, that like the picture that they show of Ethan is like around like high school graduation, right? His hair is short. He looks younger. It's the one where he's wearing like a plaid shirt, right? It's the one that everybody sees all the time. And then like the pictures of him when he was younger, or like, when he was like towards the end of his life, he's got like long hair and the stash and everything. And it's like, it almost doesn't even look like the same guy. You can tell that it's the same guy in the face, but I just think it's weird because I guess if they're using old pictures like interchangeable, it's kind of to make it like harder for anyone to pin down what somebody looks like.
Why would they do that?
Well, it's just for the narrative, right? It's the narrative.
Or can I just talk about?
Or they're still alive, right?
And they don't want people to know what they really look like as of lately.
Because they're out and about living. Yeah, that's the tinfoilist of hats. But I mean, it's actually like, do you remember when you pulled up? This was a few months back. You pulled up this thing. It was like death reports, and everyone's death report was like, was that real? Because that was nuts. Everyone's death report was like 11/13, and then Kaylee's was like 12/10. It was wild.
I mean, Hive, check me on this. From my findings as well, Kaylee did have a later, like, official death date. Yes, and I'll watch the chat here. I'm 99.9% sure that if they corrected it now, then they corrected it. But I'm like 99% sure that when it was recorded, that it was different. It was behind by like a couple weeks.
Well,
so we'll
that's
see.
It was December 10th in the stream where that, like, when you pulled that up on the stream, it was December 10th for sure. It was crazy.
Yeah. What about Mrs. Chapin saying that they left the bodies there overnight?
I can't believe that.
I mean, what is that? That doesn't happen, right?
So I remember there being like, they took 2 bodies out and left 2 bodies, or they took 2 bodies and put them somewhere and the other 2 bodies went somewhere else. Does anybody remember hearing that? That like they only removed 2 bodies from the house. They didn't remove all 4 bodies at the same time. I almost certain that I remember hearing that. And then they said that they did something where they like put them in a shipping container or the back of a pickup truck or something weird and like unnatural. And then they transported them to Spokane in like the back of a truck or a van or something completely, like with Charlie Kirk, like they put him in the back of like a Tahoe instead of an ambulance or whatever.
Oh, God.
Weird.
Just procedurally from the very beginning, right?
Yeah, it's
like
like
a murder case like that. Police show up, they're immediately separating everybody. Not like, hey guys, you guys go down the street. Right? They're separating everybody. The interrogation, I mean, an absolute joke. I mean, they were basically just chatting. That's not how those go. It's like,
well, I just want to know if what is their end goal? What is their end goal? Because if there is no effing way, and to be honest, I'm not trying to act like a hard ass when I say this. If I had an opportunity to ask any one of those family members a question, I think my question would be this. Like, in the most respectful way. I would word it probably way more tactfully than I'm saying off the cuff right now, but it would be like, are you satisfied with this investigation? Like, do you think that all of your questions have been answered through and through? Is there anything that you haven't fully been able to wrap your head around with how it supposedly occurred? Like, there has to be, guys, I mean, come on. Put yourself, your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered. There's roommates that are awake and they wait 8 hours. There's this timeline. There's this grainy. I mean, so either they're fully brought up to speed behind the scenes, which I'm not saying is not like that. That probably isn't as big of a stretch as we think, or they are to keep them protected, and they've been told that. I don't know.
So I think that, and just to kind of piggyback off of the, we mentioned the grief before. It's like, I think there's this weird thing where like there's kind of a psychological undertone where like the families kind of resent each other because it's like by chance our children became friends or whatever. And I don't know if it's everyone, like I doubt it's Laramie and Gonsalves, but like I think that the more like, because like the Chapins and the Gonsalves don't really know each other at all. Like they only know each other through this situation, you know? So it's like, I think there's a little bit of where it's weird for the families to try to bond together because they're kind of like, if my child was friends with somebody else, maybe they'd still be alive. And it's just like a weird thing that you can't ignore. Right. So I can't, but I also.
What'd you say? Cut out.
I think they're classist. I think they don't want to associate themselves with, you know, the other families. I think, you know, Mrs. Chapin.
Right. Yeah.
The social
better than everybody.
For sure. Like,
but I don't know how any of those families can, in good faith, say that they're satisfied with the investigation because it's crazy. Yeah. Like anybody who says it's almost like the more you say you're happy with what's happening, like the less I believe you. But also, then again, it kind of loops back into this thing. We can't tell people how to grieve, and it's like the way that like Ben Mogan was at the sentencing hearings and stuff. Like I actually believe that Ben Mogan was just like ready for this to go away. Because the way he was like, he like got to say goodbye. Like he kind of like said goodbye in a way, like his speech and stuff. And it just seemed like he was like a genuine dude who was actually at peace. But then like Xanasad was furious. And then the other families are super sketchy. So it's like weird. You know, I don't know. I just don't think anybody is satisfied. And I think at some point people are like, I don't care if I'm satisfied. I just want to like get on with my life. Yeah. But I also don't know how the families aren't the people who are screaming from the rooftops, like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Right.
I want to ask. So Aussie Girl said, Birdie, your Hive found so much good information at the beginning and you've left it behind. What specifically, Aussie, let's bring it. If there's something that you remember from back in the beginning, bring it back up. I mean, it's not purposeful by any means. It just seems like there's like this, we're drinking from a fire hydrant. That's what it feels like, honestly, with this case. So I don't take offense to that, Aussie Girl, by any means. There's times where I go back and I'll even just like look at kind of the titles of my videos and I'm like, okay, what did we dive into there? Like, could that be a different angle now? And I try to go back and I reflect. So I'll take that comment and absolutely dive into some older stuff. If there's something specific, or I'll actually open that up to the entire Hive. I mean, there seems to be no shortage of stuff to look into. We've really been focusing on this new unsealing of documents. However, do the new documents really give us that much insight? That's what I'm saying. Think about how everything now that we do have compared to what we used to. Does it seem like we're any closer? Really? Has anybody figured out this person showed up at this time and they did the murder this way? Guys, it doesn't seem that way.
They're just feeding us. Yeah. There's piecemeal, like a cracker a day. But congrats on contingency, by the way. You've gotten huge in Australia. That's awesome. I'm not sure.
I love the Australia Hive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Daddy Jones. I'll mute you. No, his headphones died.
Oh my gosh.
It feels weird not saying it. I was just gonna say it feels weird not saying his full name. Like Daddy Jones is kind of hard to say, but it's like, I don't know if I can just be like, no, go ahead, Daddy. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm comfortable
But,
enough. I could, yeah, I'll say it.
I'm just fucking with you. But what were you gonna say?
Yeah, but so for me, this whole thing, right? This case is it's really opened my eyes, and now I'm focused more on the big picture. Like, this can't happen. How do we change this, right? Like, the media being paid off, because they are. I mean, they're being paid off to disseminate information to the masses. The story that the state wants them to hear. And I'm telling you, I'm going to write letter. I have all the information. I'm going to just start writing letters to those people, asking for answers and calling them and just trying to, because if it's happening in Idaho, it's happening everywhere else. I mentioned to you in my email, I've dealt with some stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a lot that, there's just a lot of corruption going on, and a lot of, just the state keeping us in the dark on a lot of things. And that creates collective anxiety, and I can feel it. I think most people can feel it right now. There's just kind of an uncomfortable, little dis-ease around the nation. And that's why it's like, the FBI is hiding everything. The Charlie Kirk thing's weird. You have just so many weird things going on. And it feels like that there's not a lot of transparency. And when we're left to guess, at least for me, when I'm left to guess, my head goes into some weird places.
Well, and so that goes back to my question about how I said, if I could ask the family something. It's so odd to me that they'll go and hate on the internet people. I'm not trying to like be on a soapbox, but like, we get so much hate. That's not what I'm saying. It's just interesting that what do you expect? Really what it is that people just don't buy it. There's a lot of stories that get into the mainstream that are like high profile, that are just, holy shit, how did that really happen? For example, like, look at the NBA betting thing. They are showing you pictures. They're showing you the machines. They're dropping names, all this evidence from an investigation. Right. No one's questioning if that's real or not at all, because they're being transparent. So they have the ability to do it. Right. And I'm like, why are you doing it on these guys? And, I know you're doing stuff way worse than they're doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so weird. I just want to say this. And Daddy Jones, when your headphones charge, I want you to remember this question. But Mike, we can start with you. What do you think the biggest lie is that we've heard about the Idaho 4 outside of Brian committing this murder?
I would say the biggest lie in this case, outside of Brian committing this murder.
And anybody in the Hive can answer that too. I'll throw some up on the screen. We can talk about it.
Yeah, please help me, Hive.
Yeah.
Do I have a lifeline? Phone a friend?
Yeah, you do have a phone a friend.
No, I other than the murders, just, you can pick 10 different things. The time frame, like the time it keeps moving, right?
Right.
And I always go back to those interviews in the last month or so, right? When they're being asked about the evidence. And because at first they had so much data, and Bill Thompson said, we have so much data and we can't wait to, show it to you guys. And then they start asking questions after the plea, and you get these guys going, that's great. We've looked everywhere and we wish we had answers. Unfortunately, we don't. And they all literally to every question. And so the whole thing is smoke and mirrors. And again, I think Hippler is at the center of it, playing quarterback or, just denying everything. And then And they're doing it, and it's been 2.5. They did a 2.5 year investigation, so they're not doing it all at once. This has been a long gaslighting process, you know. And there's so many different moving parts for us to focus on. So one day we're focusing on this. I mean, I've thought so many different scenarios in this case where I thought I was right, and then 2 days later, I'm like, yeah, that was way off. Now I'm focused here. And I think that they designed it that way, you know, to try to throw us off.
Yeah. What do you think, Daddy Jones?
Yeah, so I'm back. I'm sorry about the audio, by the way. I didn't even think about the headphones, and then I would just scramble and make sure it works. But so, Mike, you didn't need a lifeline. Like, you just needed to stand up pretty much at 4 a.m. That's it, right? Like this 4 a.m. timeline is the biggest lie, in my opinion, because there's so and like with Sherlock, with Outcast, with Pav, like there's so many creators that did such incredible work on like blowing the conventionally accepted timeline out of the water. There's a Sherlock video called 7 Minutes That Fooled the World, and it's just like the best title possible. And then there's a thing you did with him where it's like blink, 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 and you just like freak out and get like goosebumps, and everybody watches you like freak out live. It's awesome because it's just like you shouldn't. Ideally, like we're not in a situation where we have to like break down every piece of this horrible, horrible crime because, and I think I've said it before in the Discord or whatever. It's like this is really a tragedy.
Yes,
and the thing is, it's being so horrendously butchered by whatever you want to call it, corruption, cover-up, obfuscation of the truth, that the reality is that it's become like a strategic study for open-minded, like challenge the conventional thought paradigm people. And it's like, sometimes I almost feel guilty because like I think about this case every day. And there will be days when I think about this case every day and I don't think about Brian at all. And it's like that kind of speaks to how insanely like arbitrary his inclusion almost was. And then to the same end, as much as I feel kind of bad about it, sometimes I think about this case and I don't even think about the victims. And I hate that because this case should really be about the victims. But it gets so bogged down that I'll think about this case and I'll just think about, like, why is that half an hour? I think it's like 3 to 3:30 or 3:06 to 3:36 or whatever it is. Like, that half an hour is missing, and they're just like, I don't know. And it's like, you try to release stuff to the public to make yourselves look like you're being transparent. And then you're so obviously full of shit, for lack of a better way to put it, because you just don't release like the most important half hour, or you like redact all the parts of this document that actually matter, or you show the body cam and then there's just random things blurred out besides the bodies. It's like insulting almost to the public if you're in the interest of justice. But yeah, so I think the timeline is just the biggest lie because it's just unspeakably bad.
But then guess who they?
Sorry that was verbose, but.
They go to they blame the creators like Birdie and these other guys who are trying to, and gals who are trying to do the right thing, and literally that's where they go. Well, you know, these guys are giving so many different scenarios. I mean, it's like, well, if you would have just told us, right? Like,
well, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like whether you're a member of the general public, or you're a creator, or you're law enforcement, or you're a victim or a family member of the victims, it is an objectively good thing that people are diving into something that seems wrong to them. So the idea that we are questioning in the interest of truth, because nobody wants to drag these kids. These kids had great lives and great futures. Nobody wants to drag their names through the mud. Nobody's trying to do anything like that. It's just like, you watch somebody's lives get cut short, and then you watch it happen in the media. It's like, I remember where I was and what I was doing when I came, like, walked into my mom's house, and, like, the King Road house was on, like, CNN or whatever. Like, I remember It's like, where were you when JFK got shot? Like, my mother remembers like where she was when JFK got shot. She was in like 7th grade or whatever, and she's like, I'll never forget it. But it's like, I'll never forget where I was when this thing started and how I watched it like evolve on YouTube through all the creators and then through like News Nation and everything. But it's like, it's not bad that we're looking at this. It's bad that people need to spin a genuine interest in the truth and turn it into victim shaming, victim blaming, monetizing a tragedy. It's like, no, it just had to be done because there's so much blatant nonsense happening that you kind of have to, if you have a moral compass, you kind of have to like demand answers. Sorry, I was on a soapbox.
No, don't apologize. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
I wanted to say the thing, it was interesting because I had asked you guys, what do you think is the biggest lie in the narrative outside of Brian committing the murder? A lot of people, they said timeline. They said, X, Y, and Z, DNA, whatever it may be. I think those are all things that have to be investigated so that, you'll have to just look at that on paper. But when it comes to the narrative, the way that my brain thinks is this. There is no way in hell that there was anybody the second that the first attack started that stayed asleep in that house and didn't hear anything.
Zero.
I don't
100%.
So you can speculate on the 8-hour delay, frozen in fear, that BS, whatever. I won't even argue that. I'm going to say this. In a paper-thin cardboard college house that's so creaky, and you listen to the guy that used to live there give that interview on CNN or whatever news channel he did, saying this, like, you could hear everything in that house. To think that one attack. Guys, I bet there couldn't even be a fight with a significant other that's just verbal. That's
Right.
above just talking that people wouldn't hear in that house. Stabbing 4 people?
Well, after reading the autopsy reports, man, like
exactly.
Someone was in the military who did that, like, and multiple people. I mean, that was a serious job. Like, that wasn't.
It's just.
And we make fun of Brian, right? I mean, he'd be last to be picked on. The girls' softball team.
It's just insane. The document, the autopsy stabbings for each victim, and even like Maddie, like they would be like, she only had sharp force wounds, but she also had like scrapes on her head, and so did Kaylee, and so did Ethan, and it's just like, there's no way. The more you know, the more like this guy is locked away for life, and it's just, there's no way this is what happened. So I guess the evidence that they release is one of the biggest lies too, but it's like the autopsies. Mike, I agree with you, because once I finally saw like what was done to Kaylee, I was like, yeah, there's zero doubt in my mind that this is all bullshit, because it's just like it's kind of awful, to be honest. Like,
it ties into Birdie's point about how Dylan, she said she walked upstairs and, I mean, that house was not that big, it had many levels, but like, you're telling me she didn't see anything, smell anything, hear anything. I mean, and then you read the text messages between her and Funk, and it doesn't make any sense. And then the way that, I still remember when she was first interviewed by the officer, and he said to her, after she gave her statement, he said, "Now remember this story, because you're going to be asked several times, and you want to make sure it's the same."
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what? Like, what? That, no cop's telling you that ever.
He also says like, you're doing great. He's like, he's like, you're doing great. It's like, what are you, stepping up for your audition? It's like, it's crazy to say it like that. You're doing great. And I get having empathy for victims, because at that point, like, the cops don't really know what's going on. If you're looking at it at face value, and there's this girl who's like distraught. So I can see how that happens in good faith, but it also really sounds like they're coaching her. So there's a lot there, but that's great. I think it's pretty crazy.
You don't tell someone
both remember your story and you're doing great.
Yeah.
I don't think that in general, the roommates being Dylan and Bethany, oh God, people are going to hate on this. I just think that they were given a pass way too quick, even if they really did have nothing to do with it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not even saying right now that I'm not even, the light that I'm looking through is not even to argue did they or did they not know something. I'm talking about, listen to the press conference when Chief Rye had the first one after 3 or 4 days. That was what he was asked on. So you're going to say they're not suspects? Like, they waited 8 hours. There's 4 people killed. Even the reporters were asking, and they were already cleared.
You know, she got to go home and take a shower. Like, that doesn't happen.
Oh,
I mean,
what did you guys think about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying, what did you guys think about when I had shown the Hive Mind find? And I apologize, I don't remember who sent that in. They had brought that lady back up who said, "Does this have anything to do with the ROTC and a female?" And then that lady gets hit by a semi. Remember that she was like this fake reporter they tried to say?
Oh, yeah. The fake. I remember that, actually.
What are your thoughts on that with the ROTC thing? What a wild, out of left field question that nobody's even to this day brought up.
I didn't even know that was the question she asked.
There's been about 14 of those, right? Like 14 of those different things that happen, you know? And so I'll be asked about the case, and when I get asked about it, I can't remember anything because there's so many different, you know, I watch you, I watch others, you know, it's like, I don't know. I just know I didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's too many coincidences.
There's a woman who's a real reporter who says, like, in that same press conference, says, like, there were 2 surviving roommates and 911 wasn't called till noon.
Yeah.
And the guy, he's just kind of like, And then he also says something like, I said that they were there. I didn't say they were witnesses. Oh, this actually brings up a really interesting point, because I know that you mentioned it. When you look at the report, it says, like, victim 1, and then, like, the Idaho 4 is, like, victims 2, 3, 4, and 5. So is victim 1 Bethany because she's the complainant because her phone was used for the call? Or is victim 1 the person who went to the hospital that we never heard about or whatever?
That's a great question. I wish like that Southern Blonde lawyer or Ali Benevento was in here. Also, just a quick plug, the upcoming stream this Wednesday. I think I misspoke. We had rescheduled. So Wednesday, the Custody Queen's off the clock. So they're 2 lawyers. They are coming onto the stream Wednesday at 7. And that's going to be awesome. But that's a great question for them, because my whole purpose of wanting to collab with them, and shout out to everybody that started putting their stuff in the Discord. Whenever I see multiple things of creators come in, that's not that I wish I had the time to watch all of them. But when I start seeing, like, whoa, all right, there's like 5 people now that have posted, you know, the same thing. I'll go and watch that. And what I'm so looking forward to asking them is this: even in custody court, how many times do you see, like, let's say you're going through divorce, right? For example, it's what's in the public eye versus what's behind the scenes that even the court agrees, from a sake of a reputation for one party, both parties, the kid's reputation, whatever it is, that you keep it out of that public light. So if it can happen on that, why can't we wrap our head around it from this? If there's drug deals, if there's whatever, if there's informants. So I don't know if that makes sense what I mean, but, like, that's the light that I'm interested to see. Like, can they explain that outside of this case, that it would help, I guess, shine the light onto this situation, you know?
Yeah, I'm excited for that live.
Yeah, that they're going to be
great. I watched them before, and they're great. Yeah. And
I just started watching them, and I do think they're great as well. So I'll definitely be watching that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So can you repeat the last part? What are you actually asking me? That was kind of a long sentence, and my brain shut out.
Of the going back to, are you talking about the reporter thing still, or what do you mean?
No, what you said, like, to shine a light on this situation. Like, what did you mean?
Oh, by that situation, it's like, okay, so we have the public thinking one thing while behind the scenes another is going on, right?
Oh, okay.
And I guess to put a bow on it, I had brought up that one, fake reporter that
Right.
you had said even like a real reporter asked us. My point was this: the questions out of left field, the forbidden questions, are the only questions that should be being asked at this point. Like, we've played very nice. We've played within the confines of, we'll go along with it. Let's ask questions about the narrative. Let's poke holes in the police reports. No, it's time to take the gloves off and start asking questions about, the forbidden stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Otherwise,
I asked ChatGPT what I can do. I'm like, what do I do? What can I do? Because we know it's
So
And-
outside of the like obvious, like who did it, why was there an 8-hour wait? Like, what the hell is going on with that basement room, that other room?
oh, yeah.
Oh,
What do you guys think
yeah.
about that? What's your theory on it?
Like, there's a bed in it, but nobody lived in it. Right? Like they're so weird about it. And then there's a POV video where they talk about how like they think maybe that was Bethany's room, and then the other room wasn't. It was really weird. And then because when they give you information about the house, they say like the south bedroom, the north bedroom, the west bedroom. Like, they don't tell you what room it actually is, and they give you like more room to like screw it up in your head. It's weird.
Right. And I'm
And
not a compass. I can't figure that out. So
yeah, exactly. And they also didn't they cut out the audio on the body cam for the 911?
they
Why?
did, yeah.
So
And
so
they just poked in that room. They didn't open
Right.
the door. Yeah. And that was supposed to be her office too. What's her name? I don't know. But she was supposed to be working from home in that room. Certainly looked like there was none of that going on.
and we're not talking about the locked room, Hive. We're talking about the bedroom that was downstairs that they said they found like the garments, the underwear, whatever. That was like,
Yeah.
I guess you could call it the office. I saw somebody else say like there was panties found in the street. There's
Panty. Yeah.
guys, I mean, how do you just let that go by though? Right? So
Right.
so how weird is this? Bill Thompson makes it a point, dude, to say, not only can we not put him in the house, there's no connection to the victims amongst Payne and the investigators in the post-sentencing press conference. How weird is it that Bill Thompson makes it a point to say, I want to be clear, this was not a sexually motivated crime. Yet
Right.
the G's get up there, they call his ass a pedophile. They whatever other insults they throw. Why? Why is that brought up? If it's not a sexual crime, I understand Bill Thompson saying that because they say he's just like, a loner incel, killed them because they're beautiful. Why then would the family go and say that?
I don't know. I think maybe what's the officer's name that was maybe hanging out with
Rosie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly he was there right before. I don't know. I mean,
What
that's
is
what the
that?
POG video said. But
What is
daddy's gone. We lost our daddy again.
yeah. What is a pedophile by definition though?
Gosh, it's a good question.
It's an underage. It's an older
Yeah.
male or an older person, right?
You like me trying to? I'm like, I don't know. I don't.
Well, of course, but you know what I'm saying? Like by
Yeah.
definition, it's not even accurate.
Right.
It's not to say that you can't be a creep, but at least, and it's not to say that, but we know too, Brian doesn't have that on his record.
No.
It was murder, it was burglary, and then on his record, I mean, guys, if dude was a pedo, they're blasting that from the rooftops. If that's
Right.
on his record.
He
Same
wasn't
thing with,
stalking them. Yeah.
no, same, that's what I was just going to say. Same thing if he would have ever been at the house, knew them,
Right.
had friends with them,
Right.
mutual friends. No, there's not.
No. None of that. Nothing.
Did you guys?
No.
One of the last questions that I have for you guys is this: what did you think about Hunter saying? Oh shit! What was the thing that he had said? It was like, well, we didn't even expect it, and like I just had a feeling that I had to get up and like lock my door that night. Do you
Right.
remember that? And I'm like, oh my god, Really?
Well, did you watch? Yeah. Did you watch him at the funeral? His speech? Oh my gosh! I mean,
I've watched it. I guess I don't remember exactly what he said though.
He starts off by saying, Ethan and I were playing golf that day, and Ethan won the first hole, and then I won the next 17, and I won a bunch of money off him, but he didn't pay it. Just kind of like how when I would loan him money for beer, he never paid me back. Like, it was just one of those weird. We're like, what? Like, this is what you got? Really weird. So I don't trust him at all as far as not being involved. But again, I have no proof.
Right. None of us have proof. That's the other thing too, is like, to Uma's point, Hunter is the worst best friend ever. Such a jerk. I think about some of my best friends. You know what I mean? Like, I love them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're bros.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know people in the Hive, you have friends like that where you're like, I'm so glad that this person is in my life. If they were brutally stabbed and murdered by some rando, I also, take the family dynamic out of it. What about the friends aspect?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, why are they letting him? Why are the cops letting him say he goes over there, right? Because there's someone in the house. And he's like, don't worry, guys. I'll go up and check it out. He doesn't know if there's someone up there with a...
The cops don't even clear the house.
They don't even clear. They're like, go ahead, you take us through it.
No. Sorry. Okay. I was just going to say that to that point. Hunter's got a knife in his hand. And
dude, the whole thing is so weird. Right. They don't even say anything. They're like, oh, you're cool. What kind of knife? All right, you're good. It's just... So I think and so many things going on in this case. We need to go, we need just to take it to the next level and to try to see how, this can never happen again, and see how we can kind of disarm the mainstream media. Because I think in 5 years, people are going to stop. They're going to be sick of listening to the same BS. And I think creators like you are going to have bigger followings. And
I appreciate that.
They're going to want the truth. I mean, it's getting old and it's played out. I think they're starting to see it. People I talk to.
I don't know what this is going to turn into, right? My vision for this, right, is I want everybody to be able to come in and talk openly. Obviously, I can only have the capacity and the bandwidth to put so many comments up or do whatever, right, and present and get the info out. Here's the thing, though. If I ever start talking like a suit, you guys have the permission to
I'll put one in you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Take me behind the shed and just put me down like a dog. Okay. Because then that's not good. That's not my goal. But I think to your point, people, there needs to be a collective aspect of the media, and there's not. And I don't know what we could do, what it might turn into, but where people tuning in are a part of the news. Why, if it's really breaking news and it's developing, it's transforming, why are the people who have also looked into it not ever included into it? Right now, breaking news is, oh my God, breaking news. This is the entire story. If you question this, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's not right. People are over it.
Right. So news is essentially just the evolution of human experience in real time, right? So we're just understanding what's happened to somebody. And it's weird because it's being reprocessed to be made less real before we get access to it, which seems to be the opposite of what news is supposed to be for. Right? It's being retranslated or whatever. And then there's a narrative that says you need to think about it this guy's an incel, the community is safe now. It's well, also, if that's what they're peddling, it's kind of silly because how easy was it for him to become an incel and do this? Maybe he didn't get away with it, but he did it, and nobody knew who he was until a month after it happened. So like, that doesn't make me feel very safe. Like, how many people are like that or could be like that in theory, you know? Like, it almost would make me feel safe if it was a bunch of like a drug hit and then they figured it out and all those people got like, you know, rounded up in a sting 6 months after the murder. So maybe that happened or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
It's just weird because they say things that are supposed to like make people feel better, but it has the opposite effect in reality.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing, freedom of the press, right? They used to challenge. They used to challenge the narrative of the government, and now they're bought and paid for, and they're being fed with, you know, what they want them to say, and they regurgitate it. And people like my dad, look, you know, 90% of the people just watch the news. They buy it. And
I think we're seeing a shift. Oh, sorry. I think we're seeing a shift where I think media went from being an agent of the people to an agent of the establishment.
For sure.
I guess is a concise way to put it.
For sure.
And I think the long and short of why that is money. Control. And the idea that it's valuable to tell people certain things. It's both money and control. It's valuable in the literal sense to tell people certain things or have people scared or have people need to invest in A or B or C or whatever. Like, and it's also good because it puts them in a spot where they're afraid and then they're easier to manipulate.
Right.
But yeah.
And the problem is, say I, you know, went gung ho and I said, I really want to expose this whole thing and really went out there, boots on the ground, whatever. I would disappear in a few months. Like, you guys wouldn't see me again. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. And that's not the country that I remember like growing up in, you know?
Right. 100%.
What do you guys think? So like in LA, Mike, I'm assuming you're out in California. Daddy Jones, you're out in, well, you don't have to say it, but West Coast.
New York.
So
my gosh.
Yeah. So we got East Coast, Midwest, and then West Coast, we'll call it. What I'll notice, or what I've noticed in general about since I've streamed, is there's no more pockets of like, oh, well, they're from the Midwest, or they're from the South, or, oh, they're East Coast, they believe this, or they're West, right? It really seems like people have seen through even just that narrative from a news standpoint. People are just like, we just want the truth, everybody. That's it. And if you give us the truth, we will watch your channel. But when you tell us, hey, Birdie is a conspiracy theorist, don't listen to him, or X, Y, and Z, they're lying. I've said this many times. My brain is wired to say, well, I'm now going to turn your channel off. I'm going to go listen to them. And then you start to realize, oh, wait, I actually agree with them.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah. It's like when someone says, don't talk to that person. You're not going to like them. They're horrible. My first instinct is, like, I want to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think that, you know, the world is flat now, and information is literally just spread so easily. So,
I mean, I was 14 years old in 2001 or 13 years old. So I remember like watching Loose Change, like after my parents went to bed, and like feeling guilty about it, being like, how dare I question something like this? And I mean, it's I know you've gone on you have your opinions about 9/11, and I have done a lot of I've done a lot of consuming content related to 9/11, especially in the past year or so. And I mean, there's a lot going on there from both sides. There's a lot that suggests it could have been something like they said, and there's a lot that suggests it could have been absolutely orchestrated or what have you. But the point being that the conspiracy theorist tag is like a pejorative, and it really means free thinker, which is objectively like a good thing to be. So that is another thing where the media is like telling you not to believe XYZ because it questions like the establishment narrative or the government narrative or whatever. So it's like actually frustrating because they're calling you, it's like, you're so damn smart. Like when they used to call you a nerd in 4th grade, it's like, you're a nerd. You got all A's on that test. It's like, why are you making me feel bad for being good at something? Like, what is happening here? It's like a weird, you know.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson has done a great report on 9/11, and
Yeah,
the
he has.
The whistleblower from COVID also. He had him on the other day. It's scary.
It is scary, and I gotta say, both you guys have been on fire. What I think is really shown through this roundtable is that what Daddy Jones just said is, I've heard you talk about 9/11, and you have your opinion on it, and I've done my things, with research, and I've watched X amount of content about this. Do you know what's so awesome? Is that's how you should handle it. And I'm not also trying to just like call out a very obvious aspect of like, you're an open thinker, I'm an open thinker. But the common denominator, I have yet to have somebody, which by the way, whoever I picked for being up here is so random. It's so random for the roundtables. Has anybody that's been tuned into a roundtable or been on a roundtable ever felt like, oh my God, I can't say this side of it. I can't say my opinion on it. I hope they haven't. And if they have, I guess I would say that might be like a personal thing, because it's not because you've been made to feel that way. I hope it's not, at least. So like, excuse me, like Daddy Jones, you just said that. At no point was I even afraid for you to say you disagree with me. Isn't that a cool feeling? I don't know. I just think it should be called out in a good way.
Absolutely. I think critical thinking is a universal language in a lot of ways. Like, people from all walks of life can empathize with and relate to the desire to know the truth at a deeper level. And I also think that in a specific sense, growing up in New York, it's hard. Like, the New York City, the water supply for New York City is 15 minutes from my mom's house. Like, I was riding my skateboard around on the afternoon of September 11th, like looking at the sky and like freaking out.
Well, gentlemen, thank you both so much for your time. And I have your mic or your earbuds.
Yeah,
that's
you went down
timing.
one last time. Birdie, thanks so much for having me on, man. It was fun.
You guys crushed it. You guys were both on fire. I have breaking news that B. Thompson is actually going to be making a surprise guest appearance again to do a Q&A after LA Mike and Daddy Jones pop backstage. So awesome, I'm going to go let B. Thompson in. He's waiting outside. He's freezing in the cold. He says he's got a brand new, never heard before evidence of why Brian Koberger is 100% guilty. So we shall see that. Awesome. And wow, look at that dog right there. That's a beautiful dog. Beautiful dogs.
Beautiful dogs.
Beautiful dogs. Oh man. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. You guys crush it. To everybody,
appreciate it, Bird.
Yep.
Love you, Hive. Thank you.
See you guys.
Okay.
Yep.
See ya.
Peace. All right, Hive. I'm gonna take 2 minutes here. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna let B. Thompson back into the Hive here. And I got to take a quick restroom break. So don't go anywhere. We're going to do some Q&A. And I will BRB. God damn it, Jeff. Name one thing that you've done that says... Why is this not going on? I'm trying to do the outro. Or not an outro. I'm trying to do this song so you guys have something. I know you guys hate the Tim Dillon song.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working, never stop searching, never quite so thirsty, I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it, it's been chronic, since I was a boy so neurotic and chaotic,
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, and you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, don't never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I can change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Well, hello, Hive. Let me turn the microphone up just so that I can make sure you guys hear me loud and clear. Can you guys hear me okay? So, great job to LA Mike and Daddy Jones during that Hive Mind Roundtable. It seems as if people are on to the American propaganda. You see, I'm not afraid to ask the Hive what questions you have for me. So I will answer everything 100% truthfully right now. Ask away, Hive. Ask away. What questions do you have about this case? Because I'm not afraid of the truth. You see, I have the media machine behind me. Oh, don't you know? The sheath is at Othrum's facilities. We tested it. It came back Brian Koberger. See how easy this is? That's one for B. Thompson. Well, Birdie's not around anymore. Ha 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 ha. Shoe booty, am I curious where the knife is? No. What do you mean? I've gotten a murder conviction without a body. What am I worried about some measly knife for? Don't you know? You don't need anything. You don't need motive. You don't need a body. So I certainly don't need a wife or a knife. Yes, I want to make it known that I am B. Thompson. Well, I cannot tell you about when Brian will be getting out. You see, the truth about Brian Koberger will shake everybody down to their core. If you've heard his father's statement, his father had said something along the lines of, the truth will blow people's minds. I just can't tell you how evil he is. You need to go check out his selfies. That'll give you some sort of an insight. I've called my good friend Ashley Banfield to make sure those are presented. Look at those love handles trying on new jeans. What is this guy at? Old Navy? Brian Koberger has love handles. Wow. He's so guilty. Luna asks, Bill, how is your bestie Molly? Well, we're great. We're great. I probably shouldn't take a drug test in the next few days, if you know what I mean. We like to hang out. We like to hang out, and it is what it is. So what that I'm friends with Molly? What, do you think that hurts my reputation or something as a prosecutor? Miss Q says, Bill, do you know where the 7 minutes are? What? Miss Q, is 7 minutes a long time? 7 minutes. Nobody cares about 7 minutes, Miss Q. Isn't that obvious? We have suspect vehicle 1 all over the camera. It's so obvious. That is the car of Brian Koberger. Oh, I'm never going to retire in spirit, Amanda. I'll always be here. I'll always be here, getting convictions with no motive and no bodies, no weapons, nothing. Wanda Woman says, why didn't you make Brian explain his movements that night? Well, you see, it's quite simple, Wanda Woman, because if I let Brian talk, well, then he puts my entire story into question. Yes, he would absolutely destroy my timeline. There's unknown male DNA all over the place. The roommates, they're so sketchy, but nobody believes it at all. You know, it's just, why would I ever let that guy talk? Instead, I'm just going to shut his ass up and say, I'll take the death penalty off the table for you, Brian. You dumbass. You think that you know criminology so good. No, I'll show you how the system works. Yes. Yes. And yes, growth renewal, he would have gotten away with it. Yes, he would have. There's no doubt that there would have been reasonable doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you guys would not have understood anyways. Tommy asks me, Bill, are Dylan and Bethany lying their ass off? Well, Tommy, I have a question for you. What does your common sense tell you? Huh? You think that there's a chance that anybody stays asleep during that crime that happened? No. No, but again, I'm going to continue to gaslight you on an industrial level, and we will shame you with our bot armies and our PR firms that we've hired all across social media with giant influencers, not as expensive as you think that they would that it would cost to have these people say whatever we tell them to. It's amazing. It's the best. It is the best. Detective Mowry, you are now under an internal investigation. I thought I would share that for that question. I can't even read that out loud. You weren't supposed to tell anybody about that, Detective Mowry. Damn you. I'm now going to prosecute you, Detective Mowry. Cat's Mojo, do I have a thing going on with Molly? No. Absolutely not. I don't have anything going on with Molly. Detective Bauer, you're the moron. You can't touch me. I get convictions without bodies. So good luck to you. I just made Brian Kohlberger confess to a quadruple homicide, and I can't even put him in the house. All just to get him to have this death penalty taken off the table. You see, I will have no problem looking through all of your body cam footage. Yes, Brian Kohlberger, we convicted him with recordings taken on a potato. Nobody could see anything, and it still worked. You see, Detective Mowry, you need to learn. 33 years. I've only gone to 3 trials. Maybe, depending on what you Google. Amanda B says, am I nervous about taking Brian's place in prison? No, I'm not nervous. They're never going to. Are you serious? There's people that still think Brian did it. There's still people that think Brian Kohlberger did this by himself, everybody. It's incredible. I shaved, Robin. God forbid I cleaned up for Birdie in the Hive before making my special appearance. Liana says, I've been to more trials than Bill Thompson, and I'm not a lawyer or a judge. Well, hopefully I'm back. It looks like the FBI, they don't like this. Yes, Molly did do my makeup. Green is not a good look for me. Detective Mowry's mother says something else. She actually really likes my new green hair. Oh, man. Classic. Oh, man. Oh.
All right, Hive. I got to get out of here. I'm sweating too much. I hope you all enjoyed that roundtable. Christ. I'll be back in the Hive tomorrow at 7 p.m. Cheers, everybody.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.